We are living in a time when spending money on stuff has become a 24/7 leisure activity. Thanks to smartphones, we can consume all of the time, on the train, on the way to work, at the school gates while we're waiting to pick up the kids, while you're pinned underneath your cat, in the evening while you're binge watching episodes of The Office for the 100th time. The thing is, buying stuff feels great and life is tough, right? There's always something going on in your life that's making things a bit of a challenge. And all of us have come to the conclusion at some point that we deserve a treat. And it's true that treating ourselves occasionally is really important. But when treating yourself becomes just a regular habit and you're spending beyond your means, this is where it can be your downfall. You continually shop for new stuff to make you feel better. The new shoes that you swear that you're going to wear all of the time, even though you've already got two pairs that are incredibly similar. A brand new vase to go on the sideboard, even though you've got 6 different vases dotted around the house already. In the moment, it makes you feel great, but it's a quick fix to a problem that never gets solved. You buy the thing, you get the dopamine hit, it feels really, really great. Maybe you experience a little bit of buyer's remorse, but then in a few days' time, you go back and you buy something else. The solution to your problems is not more stuff. And you probably know that, but the thing is, it's really hard to stop. Here are some things that I have done in order to stop myself from impulse buying. First of all, I ask myself, why do I shop? Figuring out what the trigger is really, really important. What makes you go online and start scrolling in the first place? Often it's something we do in order to cope with negative emotions. Boredom is a really, really big one when you're feeling a little bit fed up. Maybe you're on a break from work. Maybe you automatically reach for your phone in the evenings when something's on TV that you're not particularly interested in. Feeling bored, you go away, you do some shopping, and then you know you've got something to look forward to. And just the whole process of picking things out and adding to the cart gives you that nice dopamine hit. Loneliness and social pressure can also be big triggers. When you know your why, what those specific triggers are, then you can start to take certain steps to try and help you to deal with that in the moment by doing something other than buying stuff. And it's also a really good idea to create a bit of friction in the checkout process by deleting your card details from your phone so that it doesn't auto-complete. Creating that bit of friction just means it takes a little bit longer for you to check out because you'll have to physically go and get your bank card, you'll have to type in the numbers, and maybe that few minutes of pause gives you a chance to reassess and think, actually, no, I don't need to do this. The next thing I do is to ask myself, am I being influenced? I remember so vividly how back in the 90s, everyone wanted the Rachel from Friends haircut. The influence that TV and movie stars have on us when it comes to us wanting to emulate their look, their style, their hair, their clothes, has been around for a long time. But today, we're not just influenced by the celebrities that we admire, we're also being influenced by thousands and thousands of people who we watch every single day on our phone. We're not seeing them just once a week in a TV show, we're seeing them day after day living their real lives. It's like just an ongoing reality TV show. And when we watch these people, we become really engaged in their lives and we really admire them for their style, for their beautiful home, for their particular look, then we start to want to emulate that. Research suggests that 53% of social media users who follow influencers turn to them in order to make purchasing decisions. And 65% of Gen Z said that they made a purchase via an influencer. It's big business. It has a significant impact, not just on what you buy, but whether you buy in the first place. The stuff they're trying to sell you really varies. It might be books, makeup, cleaning products, home decor, clothes, shoes. They're either selling their own products or more likely they are advertising other people's products, and they'll earn money through that either through sponsorship deals or from affiliate marketing. And this just means that they get a cut of any sales that they make through their social media channels. What they're doing is hooking you in with a sense of belonging, feeling like there is a connection, and then selling to you. Influencers connect with their audience because they invite them into their personal world. When Molly May Hague announced her split from Tommy Fury a few weeks ago, I saw like people were melting down on the internet. I saw one girl shut her vintage shop for a few weeks so that she could process what was going on. People really, really care what happens in the lives of the influencers that they follow every single day. And because they really care, they also genuinely trust them. And this is what leads to followers parting with their cash when an influencer labels something as a must-have. So when you're about to make a purchase, just stop and consider, am I being influenced? Or is this something that I actually genuinely need for myself? Am I just being told that I need this, or do I actually need it? Maybe you're buying this because you're comparing yourself to that other person's life, or you feel envious of their life. It's really worth remembering with professional influencers that the reason that they have a lot of fabulous stuff is because it's a business. Chances are with things like clothes, they're being either sent them for free or they're buying them and claiming it back on their own business expenses. My point is, it's not real life. This isn't like a real person's real life. This is a professional influencer's life that you're watching. So basing your buying decisions on someone who is doing it as a business in a professional way, it's only going to lead to ruin for you, because you're never going to manage to keep pace with the spending habits that they are projecting, because they're not actually their spending habits. Another question that I ask myself is, am I being rushed into a decision? One of the most effective selling techniques that brands deploy is to put a sense of urgency, or FOMO, when it comes to your purchasing decision. They might say that the sale is ending soon, or an influencer might be telling you, hey, this sold out really quickly last time, so you better hurry up and get it. This is done very deliberately to force you to make an impulse purchase. So I always like to stop and consider, am I being rushed? And it just gives me a minute to pause and think, wait a minute, I'm just gonna leave this and consider whether I actually need it. The next question is a really important one. Do you have the money? It's absolutely fine to treat yourself on occasion, but most of us mere mortals do not have enough money to be treating ourselves all of the time. Understanding how much money you actually have and only spending what you can afford to spend is absolutely key to breaking the cycle of overspending on stuff. I do not consider money on a credit card or money in your overdraft as money that you have. That is money that you are borrowing. I'm talking about literally money that is physically in your possession, in your bank account, not money that involves you going out and borrowing. If you haven't already, start a budget so that you understand how much money you have every month, and then you can allocate a fun money budget, and that way when you spend on treats, you do it guilt-free because you know that the money is there to do so. The next thing I like to consider is, what is the cost? One great way to stop yourself from making an impulse purchase is to consider how many hours you would have to work in order to earn the money to buy the thing. For example, say you see a pair of jeans that cost £100 and you earn £25 an hour. You need to work 4 hours to buy that pair of jeans. Now, are you gonna wear those pair of jeans enough times to justify that? Or do you already have 10 pairs of £100 jeans in your drawers? Actually, what works even better for me is to compare the cost of the thing to something that I genuinely need to buy every month. Using the jeans as an example again, I consider the fact that we spend about £120 a week on food, and I think about the fact that a £100 pair of jeans is nearly our whole week's food budget. And that often is enough to make me think, well, like, actually, is that worth it to me? Or would I rather hold that money back for something else? And that's just a nice way of looking at that money that you're considering spending in a slightly different way to get your priorities in order. Another thing I like to think about is, what stuff have I already got? Take some time to evaluate what you already have. I can think of so many purchasing decisions that I made in the past that just resulted in me having another thing that was incredibly similar to one or two things that I already had in my wardrobe. One really effective technique to deal with this is to gather up all of the stuff that you've never worn, never used, or maybe that you don't really necessarily like. Maybe you wore it once and you're actually really lukewarm on it now. Gather that all up and really have a look at it and reflect on what mindset you were in when you were buying that stuff. This can just be such a good reality check for you to evaluate your spending habits. What led you to buy this thing? Do you want to continue to buy stuff in this way? The next thing I like to do is to add the thing that I'm thinking about buying on impulse to a wish list. I have a rolling wish list and I will add things to it as and when I see something that I like. And you can do this in a variety of ways. You could add it to basket and you could just save the basket and return to it on another date. You can cut and paste a link to the thing and put it on a notes document on your phone. You could take screenshots of products that you want and then create a little folder in your camera roll, and then you can put all the things that you want in there. What you can do is share that wish list with loved ones when they're asking you what you want for Christmas or a birthday, or every few weeks or so you look at your wish list and you consider, what of this stuff do I still feel like I really need? Do I feel like any of it is justified in purchasing? Can I afford it? And what is in my fun money budget? What could I reasonably buy? What can I buy that I can afford? And then you make the decision at that point, rather than making a series of impulse purchases throughout the course of a month. The final thing that I consider is, what is important to me? Ask yourself what you really need in life. So much of overspending happens because we don't understand what our own priorities are. For example, going out and buying 5 brand new wedding guest dresses when you only have one wedding to attend this year, and then struggling to afford your family holiday. Stop and reflect about what you want your money to do for you in the next year, and in the next 5 years, and in the next 10 years. This kind of focus helps you to see individual purchases not as one-offs that don't really matter in the grand scheme of your budget, but as part of the bigger picture for meeting your financial goals. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found these tips useful. Please share your own tips for avoiding impulse buying in the comments below. Bye.